Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another edition, to another installment, and the final day of Cash App Week. I am your host, Donnell Alamonte Morris, with my brah, Beast Johnson, for another edition of Hashtag Fade to Black. How you doing, my man?
Feeling like a black mama right now with my hair pulled back, look like I got a scarf on. I got this back scratch on my lap, and my fur baby sitting next to me with the mindset of if you act up, I will pop you one good time and no one will hear a sound or know I did a thing.
Well, so
Other than
ladies and
that, I'm
gentlemen,
feeling good. How about yourself?
so let's go ahead and jump into it. So today is the last day for Cash App Day. For the whole week, we had we reached out to y'all for a request for us to give you a happy birthday, sing to you, or whatever. Today is the last day for that. But for today's show, also, we're going to be talking about the first days of President Biden's administration. Because you still got a lot of people out here saying that he still hasn't done anything, but then you got other people that say he's done a lot already, and you got people who say he's not doing enough. So we're going to give our take on it, and we're going to be saying his accomplishments, as well as him giving out the finally signing into law the 1.9 trillion dollar COVID relief bill. But with that being said, let's go into the opening statements. And Beast, you are first on the block.
In this oversensitive time that we live in, I'm reminded of two things. The odd late 90s movie PCU. Anyone that knows about that cult classic, Jim, definitely applicable to today's society, as well as the grammatical sense of context and connotation. Because everyone is triggered by some kind of word, but every word has multiple meanings and connotations derived from them. And a lot of people that are easily triggered are those that haven't done their due diligence to educate themselves on words and what this word truly means, and then how this meaning has been attached to it. I was talking with Donnell earlier, and I was saying that I'm talking about my dog and him being hyper, and I was just saying, hey, I need to find him a bitch so he can just hump on her real quick. And it's funny I can make that statement publicly because I'm talking about a dog. And what's even funnier about that is that word bitch and bitches is found on many consumer products for dogs. The actual verbiage would be for lactating bitches. And the first time I saw that, I died laughing like a stupid, silly little child. Because that's the only place you would ever see those words go together. But definitely somebody out of fit of anger or just pettiness would definitely say that to a human being. Context. So since we're out here canceling things, before you get so jumpy to cancel something, really look at what's going on and how it's structured, how it's set up. And as far as cartoons go, it's a fucking cartoon. Most cartoons are a social archetype for children to understand, because many human characteristics and traits are found within them. And as a child, you gravitated to certain kids that like certain cartoons, especially if y'all shared the same interests. Y'all like the same characters. Now, my day, as far as Looney Tunes go, we never fucked with the kid that dealt with Pepe Le Pew because we always knew He was a thirsty ass nigga that would take it if necessary. So that was the one you kept your eye on. But if you fuck with any other Looney Tunes, yeah, you come play with me. There's no problem. But that Pepe Pew fan, see, they gave us the insight. We didn't have to cancel him. We just kind of knew up front. Ain't no point in me dealing with that type of person. If I see that type of energy out there, I know what to do. By the time I get an adult, I'm better understanding of how the shit I see in cartoons, no matter how exaggerated and hyperbolic it may be, is based in reality. And you start to say to yourself, "Oh, Daffy Duck acting ass nigga," because he's acting like Daffy Duck at that moment. So let's just think about these things as we move forward and try not to be so fucking sensitive. I yield the floor.
Thank you, Beast, for that. So my final, damn, I'm already looking at the end of the show. I apologize, ladies and gentlemen. My opening statement goes in line with this. A lot of y'all who's still saying, why haven't anybody put any praise or a post about Biden? Now, the panelists on this show, and everybody who knows me knows that I'm not the biggest Biden fan. But I did met that man personally. Great guy. But you're not going to see any post of me praising President Biden like y'all Trump supporters. So Trump supporters, let me tell y'all something. Get off y'all fucking high horse when you come at Biden supporters and telling them, why don't you, or anybody who voted for Biden, which was me, why have y'all put up a post on how much y'all praise him, all that stuff? Because that's called a cult. There's no difference than being in a church when somebody keep praising Jesus and keep posting it on their freaking post. And this is a pet peeve that I have, that I'm going to go ahead and say, and I know it's going to hurt people's feelings, but so be it. I'm so sick and tired of seeing these posts, type amen and share it to 10 people. Or Jesus woke you up this morning. Number one, I woke myself up this morning. He or she was not sitting over there and say, Morris, wake up. Because my body's programmed to wake up at a certain time. Or when I hear my alarm go off, my body instantly gets up. Or in layman's terms, where I hear a fucking sound and hear my alarm hear the alarm that I said at a certain time, I'm going to get up. But with that pet peeve on the side, but I was just saying that for an example. So y'all Trump supporters, get over yourselves. Just like y'all told us when it was Obama's last day to get over it. That Trump is your president now. It's funny how the tables turn. Now it's you that have to eat your words. But unfortunately, you're not trying to hear it. You're trying to push the play out your way, but it's still going to be there. Trump's gone. He's never coming back. And I'm calling it this, and I'm calling the next election too, because I know he's going to run in 2024. He ain't going to win that neither. The same outcome is going to happen. No matter how much vote suppression that these Republicans down at the South or wherever they control the state Congress can do, no matter what they do, Trump ain't going to win. But until that time, stop telling everybody who voted for Biden and people who are big Biden supporters or fans, whatever you want to call them, Stop telling them to post praises about him. President Biden is not a celebrity. President Biden is not a leader of a cult. And I don't think that he put himself in the category of a Jesus or a God. We voted him in there to do a job. To do a job to uphold the standards of the President of the United States and fix the mess that your president from last time made. So stop. Because it's only showing how dumb, stupid, and ignorant, and how much y'all are the ones, the QAnons and brainless conspiracy theorists and racists that you are. Because in the words of Steve Harvey, while you over here trying to kick my ladder, realize you had to take a foot off your ladder and lean into mine so you can try to get to me. And not realizing you're the one that's fallen. So stop. I wish I had the MJ little meme where he did that drug commercial where he said, stop, get some help. That's for you Trump supporters. So now, speaking of Biden, let's continue to talk about it. Let's see, has he lived up to his word? And we will be right back. And ladies and gentlemen, like that, we are back. And the first half of this show is presented by Real Cowboy Popcorn, as I get it strolling at the bottom, 12 different flavors. Check them out. Go to realchowboypopcorn.com. They do deliver, even if you're not here in the state of Washington. Ladies and gentlemen, realchowboypopcorn.com. All right, so let's get into it. Before we go into the accomplishments, Beast, I think it's fair that I ask this question before I even jump on in. For what you heard, no matter if you heard from somebody that knows somebody, or you've been watching the news, how do you feel about President Biden's what he has done so far in still in his first 100 days?
I mean, first 30 days was, as far as the nation goes, he did what was needed with the bill, got that together. He said he was going to do that, and he accomplished that. So in that regard, he accomplished something. He got niggas some more money. Not everybody still ain't working. So the only way we're going to keep the nation afloat from a human level to a corporate level is to bail out the consumers. And that's basically how it needed to be presented So that's good. As far as how black folk are screaming, no, he ain't done that for us. As I've explained, first and foremost, you can't expect him to do nothing for us in the first 30 days because we were never the primary case. Our case is with our case and our issue and our reason for the spotlight right now is in regards and respect to police. So we need to keep our eye on anything in the guise of reform, restructure. We need to keep our eyes on the current George Floyd case because that is the spark, the catalyst for all this shit that's happened thus far. But we can't expect the other stuff to be addressed because we as a whole never addressed it, and it was never acknowledged as a priority concern amongst the black culture, internally and externally. Crooked cops killing random niggas, that kind of sets precedence. The point where you can't go do anything, so worrying about paying your bills or putting food on your table is an afterthought when the second you walk out your door, any random cop that is in your vicinity could easily just shoot you for no damn reason or kill you slowly.
So basically, you're concerned. Well, that case dealing with George Floyd, it actually reached a settlement for $27 million. That you brought that up. How do you feel about that? Do you believe that the family got justice because of $27 million, or you think that it's just a cop out? No pun intended.
Man, it's according to the books. It's protocol. Shit like that has happened down here in Greensboro, and the thing about it is it's a payout severance package. You're being asked to leave the city. Without ask, because when you're in situations like that, anybody with your last name that they can prove direct kinship to is officially on their shit list.
Right.
So it's always been an adage and a move of individuals that get caught up in that scenario and do get a settlement. They don't live in the city no more. They may live in one of the townships, but more specifically, they live in areas where Greensboro police have no jurisdiction. So even if they're out there, they can't fucking touch them. They could be out there with a crack rock, smoking meth, rolling up a blunt. They can't do shit to them.
Okay. All right. So right now I'm just searching for the fact about Biden's promise tracker. Well, go ahead.
Now the LGBT thing, that's the main thing I want to speak on because that was going to set precedence above everything else. And now how he plays this shit when it comes to the PC and the that's all I can call it because I don't want to get flagged. We all know what I'm talking about. The bad uncles.
Oh, I got you.
Yeah. When it comes to them and giving them that sexual status, that is a very, very, very slippery fucking slope. Because once you start, from a legal sense, once you start giving excuse and fallacies to deviancies like that, which I was born this way, when something deviant as the bad uncle is now genetically confirmed, then it's just as easy to say that the Dahmers and Bundys and Sons of Sams were genetically disposed and born to be that way from birth. They came out the womb that way. That's what you're saying. To say I'm heterosexual is saying that upon birth, I came out with the sexual inclination for the opposite sex. It goes same way with homosexuality. Anything with the title sexual is something that is genetic, something that's ingrained within your who you are. It's within your code.
All right, so I'm gonna step in on that because because I remember a couple of times on the show that was brought up, and I just I stayed to myself, and I wanted to hear what everybody's take on it. So here's my take when it comes to people changing their identity. It's not more of me like I don't care. It's more than that. If like I'm gonna use Dwayne Wade's daughter, who was used to be his son. Now, for his son to be for that to be put out there in the public, I got issue with that. That's something they should have kept in the house. But if we're gonna talk about it, let's go ahead and let's talk about it. So when everybody was coming at the Wades like they did, I thought it was utterly disrespectful. I honestly did. Definitely when it comes to the black men. Black men, we have a big issue when we see something that's unmasculine. We go hard. We like, you need to be raised him. He's not a him. He's a him, not a girl.
Well, see, all that. I think it comes from the explanation, and the explanation was so vague and confusing and almost convoluted.
Yeah,
and it didn't involve Wade himself. Right, he wasn't the one that got that conversation that started this journey. It was the wife. So that's the whole thing. That's the root of everybody's concern. Like you just kind of going along with this shit.
Right. But here's my issue. With that too. Here's my issue with all the black men coming at the Wades. You got this extra energy that could have been used on the streets, what you was talking about with the officers and all that stuff. I believe we use our energy for all the wrong shit, and we give people excuses. Like I'm gonna use it.
We use all our energy for all the
wrong shit.
Not the wrong shit. Not the wrong shit. The safe shit. The shit we know we can get away with. We can say without consequential repercussions.
Yeah, I can see that. But still, even with that, either if it's for safe or for the wrong shit, we're not holding people that's killing our kids, holding the police officers, or going to these town hall meetings and sitting there telling these folks like, yo, touch my son and y'all see what happens. Because majority of these brothers that came at freaking Wade and came at his wife and came at his kid. Like y'all came at the kid, what y'all was doing. When the cop pull y'all over, or you see something like that happen in y'all street, one or two things y'all did. Number one, you tucked your heads down between y'all legs. Y'all continue to go to work and say what you want to say. Or two, half of y'all probably written protests. And I say this, you're telling me if that was your kid, what happened? And Beast brought up Zimmerman. What happened to Trayvon Martin? If that Trayvon Martin was your son, you telling me all you're gonna do is protest in the streets, and you're gonna get behind a podium, and you're gonna sit there and get mad behind a podium and tear up? I'm gonna tell you what Donnell Lamonte Morris is gonna do. Donnell Lamonte Morris is gonna get his ass out the house in the car, and he's going to a precinct. Well, first of all, I'm calling everybody that I know. I'm definitely calling I mean, Beast Johnson. Beast Johnson was right here with me. I'm like, Beast, I'm about to roll down to the fucking police station. I'm about to handle some business, and it ain't gonna be no talking business. I'm gonna handle things.
That's a good thing, but that's a bad thing too. Because I'm that friend that ain't saying shit, and I'm walking out with weapons. Right. You need gloves, my nigga.
And that's the point. And it goes back to what Teach was saying on this show. Is when she said there's gonna be a time where there's nothing gonna be said. But in a way, I kind of believe that to an extent. I believe that to an extent because
here's a deeper understanding of what she's saying. When she's saying there's going to come a time that Mr. Mayo, hustle man,
what's up, man? What's up?
Slide in through the window, nigga, like bro, man.
Bro, man, for love. Go ahead,
we're currently talking about how the black male voice has not been as aggressive in respect to police brutality as it is with the Wade situation.
Well, or like with situations like that. So I'm going ahead.
Trying to catch it again. The point I was making with what? Go ahead,
Yeah. I'm going ahead. Since you got your point, or you still trying to?
Yeah, I lost it.
All right, so I'm going ahead. So
what is the main topic?
No, you good.
So the main topic
is Biden and Biden's current activity
for 100 days. But Beach was talking about the LGBTQ community and what Biden has what he has done for them so far, and then I wanted to talk about which led to me talking about us black.
That's our issue,
right? We get mad at the safe things. I'm gonna meet him in the middle of the road because I believe it's the wrong thing, but Beast bring up
it is wrong.
The safe thing. So it's gonna if Trayvon Martin was my son, I'm not having no press conference. I am not going to a town hall meeting. I'm not protesting. Like I said, I'm calling Beast or whoever I know. I'm going down to the sheriff office or wherever or city hall.
That's the point I was going to make. The point I was going to make is that because Tish was saying that there's going to come a point where words won't matter, and the deeper understanding is that there's going to come a point in time when there's a Rambo moment. Y'all end up shooting the wrong niggas relative. It's going to be like Black Dynamite. Yeah. Like somebody gonna realize who it is. I'm like, do y'all realize who the fuck this nigga related to? Yo, shit about to get yo. And to give you an example of that type of mentality, when I lost my brother when he was found shot, the first thing everybody did was call me, and it wasn't calling me for concern like, how are you feeling? Are you okay? They wanted to know two things: did I know? And was I around enough people to keep me in a stable location? Because they knew once I find out
what was going to happen,
I cannot legally be held liable for my actions after the fact.
Right.
Because I will basically be in a psychotic break.
Right.
And everything after that is just autopilot. And Lord forbid if you get in my way and I'm emotional. So like that shit is going to happen. The wrong person is going to die. The wrong individuals are going to be affected. And you're going to see that movie that just came out. That's going to happen for real. And it's going to happen on a more coordinated, stronger movement on some guerrilla tactic shit. And that's going to be the Paul Revere. We're here. We coming. That's the ride. That's gonna be the flare for everybody to know. All right, shit has hit the fan. Let's get it.
Right, and going back to once again going back to Dwayne Wade's daughter, and then there's a thing called respect. I said it on this show, and I will say it again. Political correctness is needed. It's a necessary evil, as people would say, but it is needed. Because people say that America has gotten soft, and I believe that to an extent. I was actually talking with my coworker, my bell buddy, earlier today, and we were sitting back talking, and we was talking about our careers and the stuff that we was going through, and we were talking about how the military has changed and it's gotten soft because now we got. If y'all believe it or not, we have issues too. We got big issues when it comes to sexual harassment. It's at an all-time high.
It's a weak caliber of folk going in.
Right. And I won't say that, but then also you got suicides happening is on an all-time high too. We
Like I
got a
said,
we got
caliber of folk going in,
well,
not mentally or physically built for it.
But see, I agree with that to an extent because the military, just like any other, let's call it like it is. It's like a fraternity. It's like a sorority. So you got a lot of things that goes on, and I'm not going to talk too far because I don't want to get too further out there. But
there's a lot of legacies going on.
Right. It happens and it goes on, which contribute to these changes. People got to get out their heads, and I'm just using the military for an example. People need to get out their heads that there was just these group of people that just want to ruin it for everybody. They just want to be like, they want to change everything, but not understanding what is the reason why. Because just because you do it for so many years doesn't make it right. You just realize that you're like, oh snap, I've been doing this wrong the whole entire time. I mean, let's look at the average day household. The man's supposed to be the provider. The woman's supposed to stay in the house, take care of the kids, cook and clean. Now those roles are reversed, and now you got so many people out there getting mad because now you got more men staying home, taking care of the kids, and you got the woman out there bringing home the bacon.
And you know why? On that flip end, it comes from you have those men that were raised up in that. You have those women, that generation that were raised up that way. And it has bred a sense of superiority and narcissism amongst the men that follow that path. I pay for everything. I take care of this whole fucking house. I am pretty much God in the form of man. You wouldn't live without me.
Right.
And if I don't get out here and do what I do.
But go ahead.
We've seen videos like that now. So you hear a lot of more resentment and hatred coming from people that have lived that lifestyle and been brought up.
Yeah, and that's my point. Yeah, and that's my point. But go ahead, Mayo.
No, I was just going to tag along to what y'all saying that there's a caution that I give most sisters, the single sisters that pride themselves about being single, and like they want the next richest guy, whatever. Like if you feel like the money is going to be your motivation towards a man, understand that when you get there, he knows what was your motivation. He sees all that. He knows the story of the guy that he was with before that he probably dumped because he ain't got no money, whatever. And he came on him. At that point, feel like he knows what you're coming for, and he's gonna feel like I can do whatever I tell you, whatever now. And hence, sometimes this guys go ahead and cheat because they feel like I've earned it because I got the money. She came to me, So and that's it's almost always been like that, but it's at a hyper level now. And and I talk to in the sense of friendship wise of some people different sisters that I know and it's just the idea that man out here there's no more good men out here. No, it's what y'all been chasing after. If you've been chasing after the real good men,
what you want.
Better, but
you're not built for it. That's what I tell.
Right, and so yeah, which goes to why I'm saying, because we gotta realize the things that we did 10 years ago is getting checked right now.
What?
It's like all that stuff that been kicked under the rug. Eventually, all that stuff that get kicked on the rug leaves a huge ass lump, and eventually that lump's gonna trip up the wrong person, and they're gonna be like, "Yo, what the hell is this?" Or that damn rug is gonna be the only thing hanging on this big ass lump, where now all of a sudden it wasn't noticeable the first time. Now we can see it. So,
or somebody gonna step on that lump and it spill out on the sides.
Right. And so when people complain about political correctness and then seeing how things are changing from what we were used to and people get mad, they say change is a very scary thing. Or that one saying, when things change, more things remain the same. And I'm still trying to understand that saying because it's confusing, but at the same time, it's like, I play with it, but I know I ain't gonna get nowhere. But But like I said, not trying to go too far off of the LGBTQ.
Biden.
Yeah, off of Biden. You know,
Alphabet team.
I always say, because we all had a call last night. We was talking about Super PAC and how people get mad about why the LGBTQ always get what they want. The reason is they're organized. They got a PAC. And the sad thing is, the ones that are mostly complaining is from us. It's from the Black conscious.
But you know what's most important in that? They have a logical agenda.
Right. And see,
no
and
matter,
that's also
no matter how you feel about it, no matter your prejudice, you hear their agenda, it's based within humanity. So you're a fucking human, aren't you? So you would agree.
Right. And Beast, and I'm happy you brought that point up, because when I watched a couple of Black conscious like shows like Tariq Nasheed, like I said, I had Jason Black, even though Jason Black has become too narcissistic for me. He listens to himself a little bit too much. But I still
was this one the one from the other? That's
I put his video on the show that one time. But yeah, I rarely listen to him, but I just wanted to hear what he had to bitch about. But I go on their shows and they sit there and they say about the LGBTQ, they getting everything because it's a George Soros or they already they're part of the Illuminati and all that stuff. Even though they don't see Illuminati, they just think that that let's call it what it is. And I always say I never believe it. What they call it, the state within the deep state.
Huh.
But it's in plain view that they're organized. They get the politicians that they need, pay for their freaking let me take that back. Not pay. They fund the politicians that gonna hold up their agendas, campaigns, get them in, and then they go through with it. And then also they groom their politicians because they got it out here in freaking Washington too. Like I said, I'm not hating the game. People just got to understand the damn game. You got to understand the game.
They do. They terraform.
Right. They are.
You can't say groom.
What's that?
I say they terraform. When you think about sci-fi, to terraform, you are nurturing. You're setting the landscape, getting rid of what you need to get rid of, incorporating and assimilating what's necessary and compatible to what you're doing, and you get it basically ready for what you are and what you're trying to do.
And
that's what you see. That's what aliens do in all fucking movies.
But y'all knew that when Biden, when he first took office, what I kept saying, I said, Black folks, for all those ones that could always complain that they didn't get this, they didn't get that, I said this is the perfect time to organize, to let your local leaders know that works with the president. Hey, this is what we want. We got you in. This is what we need.
Well,
they should have been. Yeah, go ahead.
It's not just letting the local leaders know. It's just letting really the congressional leaders really.
Right, the Senate, yeah.
Pretty much the Democratic Party. That's what it really is. If you a Democrat who voted for Biden, you should be going knocking on your local Democratic Party, because
right.
Because my thing is the same thing. If he's gonna do anything, let's just say you live in Detroit, because I'm in Detroit. I'm out here in Teacher City today, so I was like, I can't.
Hey, go ahead, preach, man. Go ahead, preach, man.
So I could be teach and mayor at the same time today, because I'm in Detroit tonight. Visiting, doing some business here this weekend. So, but anyway, so if you're in Detroit, Columbus, Chicago, LA, any of these big cities, it's often Democrat leaders that's in it. So whatever you've been getting from them the past few years, if it's not changed, I don't see it changing in Biden's administration. He's not going to be this one man, Jesus Christ, who's going to come in and change everything. So
there's no such thing as anyway.
Think about the Democratic leadership that you've been having in your city, because it's still the same Democrats who are mayors and some of them in governors of different states. the key thing is going to your own Democratic Party and complaining and saying that we want better, or we're going to get rid of these people. If you don't do that through a PAC or through just a group of folks who want to, I don't want to say mob, but and somebody go back. Mayor told them to go attack the Democratic Party. I'm not saying that there ain't no insurrection type going on. I'm talking about just going in there and protesting and letting the party know that it's you that we keep getting off. We keep giving you our votes, but we're not getting the best of what we can get. It's only Democrats that I see that get to office and compromise for the getting in the first day of work. It's only Democrats. Republicans, they get in office and they wreck shop and what they want to do. It's almost like they turn their ears in and and they go straight full.
Yeah, they got those blinders.
Yeah, and but Democrats is like, oh, let me see, oh, maybe we can win.
They go against their own interests.
Maybe and it's almost like a game that's been ran on us over and over and over. That's why there was a progressive wing of the Democratic Party that said the main ideology of progressive is that we're going to do what we claim we're going to do in the books. We are the ones that want to make sure we do it. That's what progressives are. It's not. I mean, it's already in the Democratic Party's book to make Medicare for all, to fight for anti-war and more peace, and to bring our military back home, to fight money over people in politics. All these things are in the Democratic Party book. We just don't. The people who are in this position just don't play. They don't work the playbook. It's almost like a quarterback gets in there and like, oh well, I'm gonna run an audible. Every time I get in there, and the one that always wants to run the playbook is they always kick that one out. They don't let him play. They start the guy that wants to do the audible all the time, and the fans are like, what's going on? What's going on? But if y'all don't tell the coach, which is Democratic Party, that I want the guy that's running our plays in, we're gonna keep running audibles on y'all, and y'all ain't gonna never get the plays run. And so that's just the ideology of what's going on. So it's not really much of Biden.
I like that analogy.
Yeah, it's really us letting Biden and the party know that, hey, we're not gonna take this we have 24 months. It's 1 month gone already until the next election, which is going to determine if we're going to lose the House or Senate. And at that point, there will be no excuse for any of us, because we have the House right now, the Senate right now, we have the presidency, and I've been saying it from the day of the election. That let's see what's going to happen. They're going to BS us with maybe impeaching Trump, or let me see something else that's more important. That there's not the what people want them to do. Let me see what else can we argue about today. It's just a bunch of stuff that has nothing to do. Or maybe we should have a filibuster or not have a filibuster. They're trying to find stuff.
Mayo,
that's basically what we're doing.
Yeah, Mayo, you are just saying all the things that I just had on my head the whole entire time. It seemed like when the it's because us, now I'm just talking to us as Black folks. Me and Beach, we kind of talked about it before you came on the call, is we always look at the head of the snake when it comes to politics or anything. We just want to know who's in charge, and thinking that we could just chop the head off that snake, everything is fine. But they don't realize that when you chop a head off a snake, guess what? That body gonna keep moving. Absolutely. Meaning that he already got his minions that's already up in the freaking I'm gonna say Democrat Party. Already his minions who already had that same mindset already going on. So rather than trying to chop off the head and think it's going to end all the operations, because that's like the biggest cheat code in all the movies, just go after the balls. But then you forgot he got a crazy ass
balls, heart, head.
Right.
Heart, head.
Right. You forget about the crazy ass son. You forget about the crazy ass cousin. You forget about the best friend that he had up in jail, and then you got to worry about their crew. Then you got to worry about their family.
What? So he put his daughter he want to fuck. He know he'll make her run just so he can stand up there with her.
Right. So you got all of these other factors that you got to worry about now. Just because you think you just got the head, you got the leadership, you forgot he or she still have influence within the organization. And see, and this what goes back to simple civics. And I'm gonna have to say this. I'm not trying to insult anybody's intelligence when I'm saying this on the show. Do any of y'all, I'm not talking to a panelist, because if y'all want to answer, y'all can go in there. Just ask anybody that sit there and say that, government don't care about Black folks. It doesn't have to be Democrat or Republican. Just basically say that the government don't give a damn about black folks. And if you do give a damn about, politics, and you hear your fellow brethren or sisters talking about it, just ask them this. Do you know the 3 branches of government? And let's see if they answer. Just sit back and see if they answer. Because one or two things are going to happen. Number one, they're still going to give you excuses. Oh, it still doesn't matter. I'm still not living a better life from yesterday. Or they might answer.
Yeah, you make it hard. You make it easy. You want more step forward after they tell you the 3 branches of government. Tell them the 4 levels of government. I can understand of the city, state, and the federal.
Right.
The average person does not know this thing. I mean, I give trainings on that. So,
right.
But see, that's part of the game, though. That's part of the game, though, because for our generation, it's just a lack of consistent knowledge. It was never considered applicable knowledge.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. Like when we grew up reading it, it was never presented to us as something that you needed to know. It was just something, hey, this is something that exists. This is knowledge you need to know for right now, but it's not necessarily something you need to remember later on. And now we're a generation that, like I said, don't know that shit. We don't remember it. But now they just phase it out completely.
Go ahead, Mel. Get the final. I'm gonna give Mel before we go to the top of the hour. Go ahead, Mel.
Talk to the average OGs. They would tell you that we used to have civic classes back in the days, and of course I was not. I wasn't privy to it. I graduated high school in '98, so I'm talking about back in the '70s. I guess in the '60s, '70s, and '80s, there was having civic classes. They were prereq classes. So you had to know your government. And today when people are getting naturalized as citizens, when anybody who's an immigrant into this country wants to get naturalized as a citizen, they have to take those classes. Half of those classes, if you give most American millennial, or even forget millennial, give most American, like say that there's a line for food stamps right here, or line to get a driver's license, or line to even Donald Trump probably did not know most of those things when he was getting in office. By the time he was running, when he got in office, that's why you have to pretty much get all those folks to try to teach him what he was doing. When everything he was saying was campaign, I was telling folks he don't really this is what they're telling him to say. He don't.
Right. Yeah.
If you think this man knows this shit, you stupid.
Yeah. So let's go ahead and get back to
that. Let's get back to that civic class is what I'm trying to get at.
Right. So let's go back to our corners. We're gonna dive much more into it after these commercial breaks. We will be right back. All right, and we're back. So I just want to dive on to what we just was talking about, and then we're going to close it, and then we're going to jump to one of the accomplishments that Biden did done. My final point is when you have people who don't know what the hell they talking about, don't have no proof, they just go by hearsay. It's what it is. It's hearsay. And if you're not part of the solution, you're part of the problem. You just can't sit on the sidelines and just say, well, it has nothing to do with me. A backup on the football team, if something happens to the team, if your team's losing, you can't say, I'm not losing. As long as you got that jersey on with their logo and they paying you, well, I won't say NFL wise, but
if you're gonna take that dub, you're gonna take that L. It's that simple. Right. It's that simple. If you're gonna take that W, you're gonna take that L.
Right. If you train with the team, you go out and practice every day, I don't care. Like I said, I was a backup on high school. I'm not even going to front about it. But going back to what Beast was saying, you earn the W as well as you earn the L, no matter if you ride the bench. So for anybody who are just sitting on sidelines, and I call them the peanut gallery. I just love the peanut gallery. They're the ones that have the answers and the solutions and the to everything. But then when you tell them hey, why don't you come off your high horse and come on and show it to me? No, that's your job. Then shut the F up. That's our biggest problem. That's our biggest issue as Black people. Bad enough we can't organize when we need to get together, but then we can tell somebody who's conscious, who's really conscious, who really knows what's going on in their neighborhoods, who's trying to do something, who are getting results. We just stuck on people that just talk too damn much, or just stuck on people that just putting in the work. We should be asking, where's the results? If Mayo was an investor and I'm the one that have the share company and he's investing all this money, he don't want to know how much money he has invested. He want to know how much money I'm making, how much money I'm earning. He don't want to hear how much I'm putting in this stock and putting this mutual fund, what I put in his Roth IRA. He don't want to hear that. He wants to get the bottom line. And that's what we Black folks need to start doing. First of all, organizing. 2, get on code, get an agenda. And then number 3, for everybody who's out there in the field, what are the results? What is the follow-up? I don't want to hear, well, we're going to organize here and have this protest. No.
What we organized to get what we got.
Right.
Now we're going to move forward.
Right. What did that protest that you did last week, what results came of that? If nothing haven't came of it, then this protest that you about to plan ain't gonna do shit. Either
set the game up, move on to something else.
Set your game up, fix the freaking strategy that I know that you're trying to use from the last time, think it's gonna work this time. Fix your damn strategy, or we're gonna find somebody else that can do it better. And that's what we as Black folks need to start doing. We need to start holding people accountable and stop going on their freaking namesake. I'm not going to try to bring up his name again because I know Mayo will be like, look, boys, you got to leave him alone. And I know Mayo know who I'm talking about. You know, he run. I'm just going to say NOI. That's the only thing I'm going to say. We cannot hold somebody's namesake. And if we can hold Roland Martin feet to the fire when he mess up, or hold Al Sharpton's feet to the fire when he fuck up, we should hold him to the same account too as well. Which is another problem with us Black folks. We hold certain people's feet to the fire. If I can criticize people like Larry Elder, I should have the right to criticize people like Roland Martin or freaking Al Sharpton. We should hold their feet to the fire as much as the others. So I just want to go ahead.
Just because you simple, got a tragic or a pity story, don't mean you are out. Don't mean you are removed from reproach or repercussion.
Right. And when I'm saying that, I want that to be on me too as well. I know, knock on wood, I make mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes. Nobody's perfect. But I don't want y'all to hold my feet to the fire. I want y'all to hold my feet to the fire when I fuck up. Because if I'm sitting there doing it to y'all when y'all fuck up, but then when it comes to me, I'm like, come on, man, it was just that one time compared to Beast Johnson's 3rd time and Mayo's 10th time. No,
I hate when motherfuckers do that.
Hold my feet to the fire. That's why we have this show here. This is more than us just giving our thoughts. This is also for y'all to hold us accountable for what we're saying and what we're doing, what working results that we putting out there. So, yeah, that's one thing that, we need to start doing as a people. So not trying to get too much off the sidetrack. I'm actually getting all the facts and all the accomplishments from PolitiFact, which PolitiFact is a reliable source, because I know a lot of y'all don't know anything about reliable sources. Y'all just go on with the narratives that y'all want to talk about. So let's first talk about.
I was the niggas that used crib notes in high school, and then got mad when the teacher read the crib notes in class. So she
So-
already knew, like, yeah, ain't no point even you buying one, bro.
So let me go ahead and share this one so I can be fair with everybody, not only just to my panel, but everybody who's tuning in to what I'm looking at. So let's look at PolitiFacts tracker. So one of the points, one of his promises is the increase of refugee administrations. So this right here is to help, refugees become citizens. And a lot of people have their disagreements with immigration.
That's
And
fucking stupid.
Right. And the thing is, I'm trying to figure out, understand why. And
There's
it's crazy.
There's no understanding.
Right.
Well,
and
we
it's
say
crazy.
Go ahead. I'll try.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Shoot.
Once again, I watched Boyce Watkins, and even though I think Boyce Watkins as of late becoming senile, and then he got a couple people who joined his panel who thinks and says the same thing that he does. When they sit there and say these immigrants are stealing our jobs and they taking them away and all that stuff, and I'm sitting there and I had to sit back and I had to like, hold up, wait a minute. I literally have to rewind the YouTube video to that part and hear them say they taking our job. I'm like, you know what you sounding like right now? You sounding like a white supremacist. The same thing that y'all talk about on this show. Y'all talk about it, but y'all sounding like them. You sitting there saying they taking our jobs. Yeah. Sitting there saying they commit the most crimes. They sitting there, they got DACA, and we don't have anything. You want to know why immigrants are getting what they're getting? Once again, if you're not organized, if you don't have a super PAC, if you don't have an organization that pushes your causes and have politicians that will push your causes, or people that's coming from your organizations that are in these legislation, in any part of legislation, state, local, federal, you ain't gonna get nothing done. I think we be kicking a dead horse at times. Would you agree with that, Mayo?
Yeah, I do. I totally do. And one of the things I want to make sure I distinguish him is like in between what I believe, which I think we all believe the same thing, and being able to understand and have consideration towards the other side of this argument. I know what they mean. I get what they're talking about. A lot of them in their mind is like, hey, we believe that anybody that wants to be part of America, they got to come through behind us, so to speak. But they don't see the hypocrisy that we see in it.
Yeah, I agree with you.
I look at it like this. From a fat kid standpoint,
only way we can come level, their point might be stupid, but they have a sense.
It's not really, it's an opinion. I can't call it a point because the point has some kind of logic. To say that a nation, a generation, a future generation of original immigrants who founded this nation have the audacity to deny future immigrants.
Right. But some will make the point that they were brought here in opposed to them coming here as immigrants, so they need to be in front of I think it's
like if you're a I agree. It's hypocritical. It's like, as a fat kid, I look at it like this. Everybody knows what pizza is made of. Tomatoes, cheese, and bread.
Mm-hmm.
Basic pizza. So think about the influx of immigration as adding, we've always used American and Canadian tomatoes, American, Canadian cheese. Now we're importing balsamic tomatoes and French cheese and Spanish. They know everything we use, America, we're bringing in more exotic, so to speak, versions of it and flavors of it and variations of it. Now, yeah, there's going to be some rotten ones and some toxic ones, but those get weeded out. That's what quality control is for. the end result is always the same. Not only do you have a good ass pizza, but now you have a better tasting pizza because you got extra. You got this tomato tastes different from this tomato, and combined, they add a nice little je ne sais quoi, if you will. You know, it's like, is that sweet tang with just a little bit of kick?
Yeah, you know if Aunt Joyce cooked the potato salad rather than Francis over here, you know, she like to put those raisins.
It tastes different. Like you now understand when you used to something, like, because as black folk we used to specific cooking.
Yes.
So, but as you get older, you do have to realize that Aunt Joyce ain't gonna live forever. Aunt Jean ain't gonna live forever. Eventually, they're gonna get called home to Jesus, and unless we were smart enough to pay attention, or for sure somebody know how to make it just like her, eventually you're gonna have to find something different. And even in the case somebody passed it down, it's never gonna taste the same.
That's true. But at least it's passed down and it's close.
But it's still not the same, because why? The original didn't make it. But it's still different, and it still tastes just as good. And they might have kept it the same, might have added a little bit different to it, but still good. Nonetheless, you still fucking eating it. You still got a big ass plug on your plate.
So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna tag team up in here. So my thing is on immigration. We also gotta understand the immigrants are not only just coming from Mexico. We talk about all countries. We also talk about even Africa. You got immigrants coming in, and we forget about that. We even got Canadians that want to be Americans. We forget about that, but we just worried about right. And so we sitting there, we worried about freaking Mexicans coming in. I say this honestly, to tell you the truth, we don't need no damn wall. That's why I'm happy that they didn't even finish on that damn wall. We don't need no damn wall. The reason why we got a freaking wall in the first place, people don't want to talk about, is because thank you, Ronald Reagan. Because of the war.
Trying to stop that coke coming out of Mexico. That's what he's trying to do.
Not even just Ronald Reagan.
We get our coke flown in, goddammit. Stop trying it on.
Not even just Ronald Reagan. Thank you, Nixon, Richard Nixon, because of the war on drugs that create these drug cartels in Mexico, which send those drugs. Remember the Contras? Look it up. Google, if you properly know how to use Google and actually read on the story, because a reporter was going to bust this whole entire thing wide open, and he mysteriously committed suicide. But let's
shot himself point blank in the back of the head.
Yeah, I know. Perfect, huh? So
right there. That's sweet spot.
So if with all those drugs influx coming into America, anybody, like I be watching documentaries on YouTube about the drug cartels. Like, I wish Cheech was on here. She probably heard about this. Like the I forgot what's called in Motown. They had a big drug cartel up there. They had one in Florida. Obviously, they had one in Florida. People gotta understand the reason why Miami looks so nice and beautiful and sleek and all that stuff because of drug money.
Yeah,
drug money. New York. You know why New York was so nice and so flashy? Because of drug money. California. Now, California.
Money. That's my money.
My money.
York,
yeah, I got you. My money.
New York, Vegas. That's my money.
But the most notorious one of them.
I ain't trying to disrespect nobody out there. I'm just saying.
Yeah, but
the mob.
They were selling drugs, but they were doing other shit. So with respect, y'all made that money.
But the notorious one, when we talk about what happened with cocaine, we talk about California,
LA, Compton.
Freeway Ricky Ross, and we're not talking about pay the cost to be the boss. We not talking about him. We actually talking
We're
about
not talking about Mr. Lemon Pepper.
No, we talking about the real Ricky Ross. Now, if anybody who watched that FX show, which I'm watching, I'm happy that they got the new season up. For Snowfall, which is based loosely off of Freeway, Rick Ross.
Why they call him Freeway? Because that's how he used to move that dope.
Yep.
Young nigga move that work. Young nigga move that work.
Yeah, and
young nigga move that work.
So that's what happened. That's why they tried to stop Mexicans from coming in. Well, a big part of it for them to come in. That's why they got border control. That's why when you had to go in, you have to show your passport, you got to show your ID. It's all good when you're going into Mexico, but then when you coming back from Mexico, they got to check your car.
You got drugs on you, nigga?
Yeah. What's that?
That's basically what they're saying. In the nicest way and legal way possible is, oh, thank you for visiting Mexico. You got drugs on you, nigga?
Mm-hmm. They had the dogs.
Don't trust you.
They had the dogs, everything. You could have just look, you could have went down there just for vacation, but you still have to get pulled over, pull your trunk up, take your bags out, dog, everything. Go ahead, man.
Nonetheless, there's 2 points out of this. Is one, the one big caution I have, and I want to make sure I say it clear so people understand that it's important to have a middle ground and to be able to move forward at some point. It's important. Understanding and consideration is important. As much as I don't agree at all with Republicans and far right, and some black people that they have the issue of xenophobia. Xenophobia has been around since the day life started. Everybody feels like I don't want anybody to come take what I got. I think I understand if you got a house and you live in your house, you don't want nobody to come squat in your house. It would take one little room. If you have 10 rooms in a mansion, and it's your house, you don't want somebody to be like, oh, I give one room to the guy down the street on the corner. You don't want that. Everybody got so I understand the idea of what we're afraid of. I understand what people are afraid of, but they also need to understand that as civilized human beings, it's better that we are better human beings when we share. We are better human beings when we are not afraid of somebody being able to be in the same space that we are, especially in a country that has the Statue of Liberty that reads, "Give me your tithe, your poor, your hungry masses," and all that. And talking about. And
I got a question for you, Mayor, when you finish.
So those words written by Emma Lazarus, in those buildings, they're supposed to mean something to every American. That like we want the best of and the worst of people to come in here and understand that we have enough land. I just drove from.
Mayo just froze.
That's a perfect pose too, because he look like he's just in battle mode. Like, nigga, I will end your life.
all you see is land, and with all that land, what you got is opportunity for people to live there. I mean, you go through the states in the West Coast. There's a bunch of ranches, land. I mean, we can all exist on this planet, regardless of where we go.
I'm glad you said that.
And you got to find a way to preach to the folks who don't understand. I would say they don't understand. The folks who are having a hard time to agree on this matter. We got to find a way to talk to them and just have a dialogue with them. But the first thing that we need to do is have a consideration and understanding for the mindset. Most of us would not want Nancy Pelosi, and she'd be the last one to want black folks to be living in a house. As much as she has all that throwing the fist stuff, I don't believe she loves us. Dick Durbin don't.
No, of course not.
Dick Durbin.
Chuck Schumer.
One of those Democrats. I mean, they call the black ones. Some of them they won't let the average kid in the neighborhood come spend the night in their house, even if they know the kid ain't gonna rob them, because it might be. I mean, even if they know the kid is not gonna rob or steal anything from their house, most of us we preach all this stuff, but it's false and it's all hypocritical because naturally we have this instinct in us to preserve, self-preservation. That's what people are trying to do. We just have to have more dialogue to let people know that you can still do self-preservation and still allow other folks to come in your country, in your state. And we can all still share resources. There's enough resources for all of us. That's what we gotta keep having that conversation, but with understanding, without that understanding that we know what's on their mind, and I can say to them that, brother, I understand what you're talking about. I feel you, but we are better than that. That's how we gotta have this conversation. Not to say that we don't get what they're saying or they're crazy or whatever. No, they're just trying to preserve themselves. It's self-preservation. Just think about how many of us would have somebody come knock on our door. Oh, I want to stay in one of your rooms over there. The one room you got over there with the the one that you ain't using. I even stay in your pantry. How many of us would be like, go ahead, come on in. Just go, we're gonna be vetting people and everything. So it is what it is, and that's where xenophobia comes from. It's a self-preservation, but on steroids. Self-preservation on steroids. So we gotta find a way to balance that. I've always said,
but it's flawed. It's flawed though. It's flawed though, because by your analogy, which is a common analogy, I ask myself, that doesn't make sense, because under that logic, that's your house, that's your place. No matter how big it is, it's yours. Meaning that there's paperwork and title of deed ownership. So in regards to America, is there any title of deed which refers to or includes or acknowledges every current U.S. resident as a owner or a percentage owner in the actual United States of America?
No, not a percentage owner, but we do have documents. Declaration of Independence. We have documents that.
No. Not the Declaration of Independence. Like I understand it's there, but it doesn't say anything about like we actually own this land. Like we as Americans own this land. Every American owns a piece of this land. No, we own the freedom. We own the freedom in this. We own the citizenship and the liberties and the freedom to do what we want and we must on this land. But there's no actual document. Is what I'm asking.
Let me answer that question.
By that logic, no. Because what I'm trying to get at is that people say that was like America. You don't own anything in America. Like even the president doesn't own. Now you own property among America. And like some of us are gifted.
When he gets
let me, Mel, go ahead.
I understand that point, but it doesn't equate. It doesn't equate to the physical manifestation of a product or a item. As far as like land is the closest equivalent. So like you can own land, but no one person owns the entire land of the United States of America, and every American does not own a percentage or actual land as a United States citizen. So when people make that statement, it's like I compare it more to like you're living in an apartment complex, or a condo, you own your particular unit, and there may be some more units in the back that you don't know about, or some areas where space can be filled and acquired that you, unbeknownst to you, because it's not in your general vicinity and in your conscious mindset. So you hear about people coming in, but not realizing that we probably got room for them. Yeah. Why would we take folk in? We ain't got room.
Yeah, let's go.
The question of having room or not is what I described or talked about or responded to earlier. The idea of the legalities of America, we have jurisdiction of the United States of America. That's why we have the the coastline and all this stuff and now it might be right or wrong. I don't want to get into that discussion because how we go into countries and try to take countries' territories and all that. That's a whole different conversation. And I'm off giving.
No, I understand that point. I was getting like.
I'm just saying, I'm of giving Virgin Islands and all the places that sovereignty or making it sure give them the right to vote, one of the two, which is a whole different conversation. But the ones that we actually have right now, once the Constitution allows us to say that yes, this is our land. That's why those I don't want to say those a-holes, but that's why some of those people are saying this on this land, this your land, that's my land, all that kind of BS. But my point is, the United States land is supposed to be for citizens of the United States in the sense of they don't own it, but they're entitled to citizenship for that land. That's why
Yeah.
the issue is about citizenship. So now, in the sense of they might be renting the land or ownership of the particular small section of the land, but still they are citizens of that whole land. And the ownership or rental of to be to stay somewhere permanently or not is different individually, but as holistically, United States land, we're all citizens of it, and that's why every country has their own citizenship. And some of them feel like they want to come here because they believe that it's the best place. I don't blame them. Neither do I blame people who are saying no. I'm not gonna let you in because I feel like we don't have. I'm not getting enough share of our. I don't want to share. I don't blame them because of the natural instinct to that. But
I
let me. But I also feel like the folks who know better, who are like you and I, need to talk to them and say, calm down. We can share this with other people. Like get up the fence, let them come in the fence because we can share. That's what I think we're missing out on. I don't blame them for naturally saying like, hey, the law said that if you're not part of the citizenship, you're not supposed to just come in and get away with it. I mean that's what the law says. They know that if you're not a citizen, you should not just walk into the United States borders and take the same privilege as a citizen. That's what the law says. So I mean, and when Republicans make that point, I see what they're saying. They make a good point. The mistake Democrats make is that they don't meet them there. They go beyond that, or like, well, it's other, this is land of immigrants. Is that well, yeah, it was land of immigrants, but there's laws that
refugees.
There's laws that still constitutes us as a citizen. It's why, and if you want anybody to follow that law, any other law, you have to make people follow that law too. The question is, how can we make those laws last so that more people can join us, opposed to us being acting with xenophobia and always like being also aggressive.
And to go to what both of y'all saying, for going to what both of y'all are saying, but see, that's when the people, the Democrats or whoever's supporting the immigration, should forcefully bring the Republicans to the table. I mean, Democrats technically got the power of Congress. They got a slim majority in the Senate because they got the vice president as the tiebreaker. For me, if I was like what's her face and down in Georgia, Stacey Abrams, what I will be doing because they need to make her the freaking she need to be the Democrat leader. She should be the leader. I will be working on some freaking campaigns in those Republican seats, those 10 seats that are vulnerable, and start putting some money to their not reasonable but more progressive minded Democrats, because I believe that's the only way we're going to get that going, because that's the only way. Even though I already say on the show, I don't believe in working with the freaking Republicans. I say keep your happy ass over there. But to your point, Mayo, we do got slim majority, and we have no choice but to bring a couple of them to the table because that couple can make the difference. So, but like I said, if I was a Stacey Abrams and I was running up the Democratic Party, all those 10 spots, those 10 seats that are vulnerable, I'm putting money in their districts and making sure that they got competition and making sure that we're going to get 10 seats come the next cycle, as well as in the state representative too as well, because that's the only way, because the Republicans have shown when you got the powers and numbers, you can do whatever the fuck you want to. Excuse my language.
And not even that. From a like political standpoint, like spin wise, if you notice, Republicans always have these young upstarts, these out of nowhere rare breeds. These are the ones that Mayo refers to, the ones that they've been grooming.
Yeah,
and they set them up on some Vince McMahon shit to have a debut.
What? And with Democrats, it's so selfish, You want to down the seat. You always all folks want to down the seat and shit,
And see, the thing is, I believe the Democrats go against what they are for. They go against their own people. They go against their own constituents. They go against the voter, and then they wonder why.
It's To what Mayo says,
self-serving.
No,
It's self-serving.
You can't fault them as a human nature, but look at the structure of it. The president has a 4-year term, 8-year max, but a senator can be in there for fucking life,
forever. And speaking, but before you continue,
ain't it like the only job that you can do for like get paid for life?
Well, the judicial is actually there for life. It's actually judicial is actually there. It's actually a life appointment.
Yeah,
you in there for life when you're a Supreme Court justice. But
I forgot about that as well.
For the legislature, this is where the votes count. Let me say that again to Mike. Ladies and gentlemen, this is where the votes count. When the legislature, when you got the Senate, when you got the freaking House of Representatives, both state and federal are determined by the votes. So y'all complain that they up in there for a long time, which they should have a term. It should be a limit. But go ahead.
The problem is that there's been for the history of the media, in between the media and the folks who got the most money has hypnotized people enough to want to keep electing the same people there all the time because their name is popular. So whoever's name is popular, they keep voting them in. And these people never leave. They die on the seats. Because even though you can every 2 years,
because it's structured it's structured that way that as long as I have majority vote at time of annual voting,
well, that's election,
no cycles. But that's how it is though. Like when the structure to where is because that's what I'm hearing, and I know I'm not the only person who hears that. So as long as I win, I stay. Mm-hmm. It's like pick up and run in the hood, and the nicest kid, and it's the one kid everybody knows is fucking nice. He's fast as hell. He nimble as fuck. If he get the ball, he's gonna have the ball for at least 30, 45 minutes, tiring everybody the fuck out.
Yeah,
you do not want him to have the ball.
And speaking,
some states have term limit though. Some states have term limit, but it doesn't include Congress.
I mean, we understand that. That's what I'm talking about. In the sense of the Congress, and the House, like that's the issue. You have it goes back to elementary school, that popularity contest. So as long as I make them like me, and then make them continue to like me, I can stay in here for Congress.
I'm for term limits in Congress. The question is who's going to start the revolution around the United States, like Bernie Sanders started about Medicare for all, even though they still have not passed yet. Who's going to start about term limits in Congress? And who's the congressional person that's going to introduce that bill? They're not going to introduce a bill about.
And I hate to play spoiler on that. I don't even think that's going to. I don't even think it's going to be brought up. I don't even think it's going to be now. I love Bernie Sanders to death. I love LaPaul, who's actually, I forgot, she's actually from here. And then also I love AOC, and then my girl Cori Bush. They're not going to bring that up, because when they say that, then the Republicans will throw it back on them. Now remember, y'all got time limits too. But other than that,
no. But that's what I'm saying. I mean, they everybody gets in there and they form a cahoots against the people. And the people need to rise up at some point. And I'm gonna say this last thing, and that's what the one thing I keep trying to get to y'all, and both of y'all probably have not gotten it for first time I mentioned it, or anybody else, multiple folks who are listening to CNN. The one thing I want to say that even though I agree with what the physical action that those people took when they went to the Capitol, and the fact that the majority of them, I won't say all of them, had racial they had racial beliefs that against me. You know, I won't say all of them are, because that was not the. I didn't see them going like, oh, let's kick black people out of the country. They were more like trying to get Trump back in there for re-election. But either way, and CNN turned into black or white then. Either way, the reason why most of them were going in there is very similar to why we're going, because they were frustrated at Congress, and that has been lost in all the message that they were frustrated at Congress. Even for whatever reason, they were frustrated at Congress. They were frustrated Congress, and we sit there and we frustrated them whenever we are to. And all we do is like you said, talk about, oh man, this is going on, this is wrong. But we're not fixing it. The fixing it is talking to each other more the folks who don't disagree
Well,
or who disagree with us, and not talking to them about the things that we agree on. Like, hey, how can we give Tom to Congress? How can we take back the country to be the people's country, and opposed to be the rich people's country and the media's country? Right now, that's what it is.
Well, you know
The rich
why?
people and the media control everything.
And Mel, and you are so totally right, because I recognize that too, because I'm like, you know what? Let me give the devil his due. I think
it's funny you say that though. I agree, and I actually agree with you too, Mayo. And as you were saying that, I came to realizations like the reason why, honestly, that it was paying for the racial is because when you think of in the aspect of war and being on the front line or just seeing how it is, nobody pays attention to the actual size of the army, but they pay attention to the front line.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So if the front line is on some racist shit, if the front line is on some racist shit, but the rest of the crowd is on some fix this country, nobody's really gonna pay attention to them. They just get lost in the masses as the endless army of the racist front runners. So like that's the and I agree with you. That's something we have to acknowledge.
Tactics to keep us away from each other.
Because I agree, like not everybody was out there on that tip. Like the ones that was out there on that tip, they got showcased.
Yeah,
if they weren't out there on that tip, you didn't see them. You didn't see them. You don't know their names. You don't know nothing about them because they weren't out there on that tip. The ones that was out there on that tip, they the ones that stole shit. They're the ones that was taking pictures. They was doing all that silliness because that's what they was on.
Speaking of that, real quick, because we get into the middle of the show, I know you're gonna be angry. Like, man, you ain't saying nothing about my advertisement. Sky Zone Society, ladies and gentlemen, strolling at the bottom. Sky Zone Society got clothes, they got videography, they got pictures, they also got candles that smell just like an Xbox and a PlayStation 5. Yes, I said that. Xbox and a PlayStation 5. If you want to get those candles and get the gear, videography, or photography, go to Sky Zone Society, strolling at the bottom. Check them out. They sponsoring the second half of this show. And this show is I love the how we are engaging about Biden's promises. Now, we're not gonna go through all of them. We just want to get the main ones. So let's go.
I want to get your top process on what we was talking about. You were gonna say something about the whole thing about the insurrection, all the peace, and the fact that they were fighting. Yeah, I thought you were gonna say something too. You know.
Oh no. No, Mel, you hit it right on the head. I mean, you hit it exactly on the head. I mean, I did just like Beast. I had to think about it. I'm like, yo, if under a different set of circumstances,
overhead shot. As a gamer, I look at it from perspective. So it's like first person, I'm only gonna see the racist assholes.
What?
Third person overshot, I'm only gonna see the assholes. Overshot God mode. Oh shit. You start to see a clear distinction, the line between the front infantry and everybody else. And if you ever notice it, and I'm sure Donnell can concur and contest to this, as Army, when it's time for war, frontline infantry does have a slight different design than everybody else. So everybody has a specific duty and designation. Their attire has a specific design and coordination to go with it. So frontline, so they can tell amongst themselves. That's frontline, that's gunners, that's med, that's sniper, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But we as the general human, the civilians, we don't know this. And until we put ourselves in that perspective of an overshot, it gives us better understanding.
So now we're going to get into this other policy that actually fell out of the COVID bill. And that was a $15 wage. And I honestly, I'm not trying to sound gullible, but I'm sounding gullible. I was so hoping. So hoping that this. Let me go ahead and put this up. I was hoping that this was going to be put in for the $15 an hour wage. And when he let those 8 Democrats just take it off, like Manchin and what's that other one, Cinema. You know what? I'm going my right here. Let me just go on this right here real quick.
Okay. In lieu of everything that's going on, when it comes to the $15, you gotta look at back to my open statement context. This is up for debate during a pandemic global status event. We've already cleared a check for $1.9 trillion. That goes to everybody, working, not working. These motherfuckers expect us. Like, no, I'm speaking like from the top people, from the nigga that endorsed the check, the one that okayed it. He cleared it from that man's perspective because they had to okay it from him first, or the board that okays that shit. But one name is always on that check. Ain't I always right? Every check you ever seen is endorsed by one person. So I just look at it respectfully, like I just look at respect and because of the time frame. Had this been no pandemic, just regular, a regular election, sans a pandemic, everything politically was going on. We just weren't hit with no random disease. The $15 not going through would be more impactful. But considering that it's a pandemic and they're already clearing $1,400 for every fucking body.
Well, hold on real quick.
It's a give and take. Like you gotta kind of expect some kind of give and take. So it's like I wasn't surprised like that. I wasn't gullible.
Yeah.
Two things. We can't keep thinking about like there's some people out there that run this country outside Congress himself and the people that were elected. We can't keep that Illuminati or the people who are. I mean, they are the 1%.
I don't speak.
Hear me out.
Go ahead.
So what I'm saying is,
but go ahead.
When I think of the people that run this, I think about us. We are the ones that's supposed to be running it, but we've let other people do it because we feel like this. We have this thing that we've accepted. It's kind of like defeatism. Defeatism. It's like we've allowed defeatism. We've allowed people to defeat us without even trying and say, "Oh, those whatever." No, we elect them to do this, and that's how the system is supposed to work. But when we ever believe that it's not us that's in power, or B, we don't do anything, we just sit down and complain. We don't even vote, or we don't vote them out when they keep doing the same wrong things. Those are when other people do the things. They do what they want to do. If they were, he promised $15 minimum wage. Hold on, you're talking about hold on, real quick. You're talking about the stimulus, the $1,400, whatever. You know how much you spend on defense spending?
Oh, I know. I know it was 1.9 trillion was okay, but even with the stimulus package, that equates to $660 billion.
So, and which some of this defense spending goes to contracted Americans who are getting money. They get single people or a smaller group of people who are getting richer, getting contracts on defense spending. And you talking about we're making a big deal out of maybe $1,000 or $2,000 for each American. At the end of the day, we cutting this money. We in debt to the rest of the world as we cutting this money. If we're gonna be doing that, we might as well do it on a $15 minimum wage. And it's not coming from the government. It's from everybody who hires somebody. We have to give them minimum. We have to pay that minimum wage. Now the government too have to pay theirs, but this people are working. They're working Americans. If they're at the job and they're working hard, they deserve at least something they can feed their family with, so that husband and wife and the 14-year-old don't have to work for a family to save a roof.
Right.
At this point,
you're talking to a nigga that worked 2 jobs. You just preaching to the choir right now. I'd shop right now if I wouldn't kick over the table.
Before there was only one breadwinner in the family. Now there's two breadwinners, and they got to be an alternative, additional. Most of the time, a little kid in high school has to work to get the family going most of the time.
Right.
Because it's just ridiculous. And the price of inflation is going up, but people are still struggling to make ends meet. And the folks in Congress don't feel none of that because they're getting paid $600,000. They're starting of the least
they
of them
get paid for life.
$600,000. $600,000, brothers.
Mm-hmm.
That's in the Senate. So it would be in the Senate.
Hold on.
You know, and with benefit.
Paul, Mayo, before you finish, I just have to expel this nigga moment that I'm sure all three of us can agree on. $600,000 a year. Nigga, you know how many hustles I would flip in the first 3 months and still have like 450,000 left?
Well, I mean, they're flipping the biggest hustle is by having us not
like,
and
I'm doing this shit for every year, my nigga. Every year, my nigga.
And not to mention, don't forget they got donors too. That donor money. And so,
well, I mean, that's what I'm saying.
That's like working at a restaurant that literally pays you $50 an hour, and the average cheapest tip from a customer is $37.50.
Yeah, and so here's my issue to carry on what Mayo and also what you were saying, Beast. Is that then you hear the argument of, well, you got these small businesses, you know, when you do $15 an hour, it's going to hurt them. But I'd be thinking to myself, y'all didn't think about that when they was really, really struggling during the Bush administration.
Actually, and here's the funny thing about that.
I mean, nobody was talking about that when they were struggling under his watch. And that they always want to put, every time we're trying to defend big businesses and big corporations, they always put small businesses up in there. Like I was talking to a conservative friend of mine when I was on a mission. I was telling him, I said, you should not put small businesses with big corporations because big corporations got the resources and obviously they got all the funding and then they got all the backing from all the politicians. Small businesses don't have that. Small businesses are like your average convenience stores, maybe even grocery stores. You don't see too many mom and pop grocery stores nowadays because now you got freaking Walmart that took over the game. You got freaking Costco. You got, remember when Sam's Club was still a thing. I mean, you got all these other grocery stores that took out the mama and papa joints. But I'm talking about mama and papa joints like the Pizza Place or that Jamaican spot or that freaking 7-Eleven. And so
I have to correct myself.
Go ahead, man.
I have to correct myself. It's it's $174,000 a year that they get paid, but at least the Senate have 6 years when they get elected. So you have 6 years to get $174,000. I'm just telling you.
The average smart nigga with $170,000 a year. Okay. I know. I know. This is how we start doing it like this. Like, all right, that's gonna average out to about a monthly income of. Do we get monthly, weekly, bi-weekly?
You can live up
monthly, weekly, bi-weekly.
If you just pass,
get paid on the first.
If you just pass $15, it should be It should not be a no-brainer because then
it's funny you say that though, because when it comes to the small businesses, there's a video viral right now of a small business black chef owner, female, actually poaching employees from fast food. Told them straight up, I give you 15 an hour. You want to make 15 an hour? Walk out and hop in the car with me. I have a homeboy that has a cleaning business, and he offers $20 an hour.
Yeah, and
with
then,
8-hour shifts paid on that day.
And then also, I hate the other, they try to use this other point of, well, $15 an hour is going to be different from us where I'm at to where Mayo's at, and from freaking which is true. Which is true, but at the same time, they're not struggling. They don't have to need that second.
But you know what that means. Here's what that means.
They will actually have enough to put food on the table. They may not have enough to get a brand new Bentley. I mean, like, come on. But at least they get whatever vehicle they have now, wherever it needs, gas, repairs, new tires. They have enough to do that. So
if you're bumping everybody up to 15, you're bumping at the minimum. Like I say, it goes to you bump everybody to the minimum 15. Whatever the current status is, you're just gonna add 15 to it. So
let me give
how
you
is
some,
that?
Oh, go ahead, Mayo. Go
let me
ahead,
give you
Mayo.
some
Yeah,
numbers.
yeah,
Real quick, man. Of that 174,000, that each one of the members of the House and the Senate, U.S. House, get paid a year, and the Senate gets 6 years of obviously because they don't have to run again every 6 years, right? Of that 74, of that 174, one can live off $74,000 himself and save that $100,000, and that means we can save by the time you get out of office, off one term as a senator, you can have $600,000 in your account. That's where my mind went to 600,000 because one term you can live off 74. But mind you, what they refuse to get the people that voted them in.
I
And
can live off 20.
real quick. Hold on, real quick. What they refuse to get the people that voted them in, who are supposed to be the ones with the power, is $33,000 a year. Because say $15,000 gives you $33,000 a year. So you getting paid 174 and you refuse to give me 33. And that's how selfish these motherfuckers are. Excuse my language, and we allow
Truth is true, my nigga.
and the people allow them to keep doing it, and that's what I'm saying. That people got to rise up and stop voting them out. But we don't take it serious enough. That's probably the point. Because then what comes in is selfishness.
Because we don't see the seriousness, and we don't see how the seriousness is applied to our life.
Well, I think the problem is some of us make a whole lot more than that. So because we make a whole lot more than that, it's almost like it makes us feel better. Like I ain't making less than 15, so I ain't got to worry about it. So when we vote, we go to the polls and we vote about our issues. We don't worry about other people's issues in our family who is working at McDonald's, who is working at Walmart and all that. We don't worry about their issues. We worry about our issues. We get so individualistic, and that individualism is what's killing us. Because if we worry about our next door neighbor who's not making 15, who's not making $33,600, something at the minimum, you trying to tell them that you can't, and someone that works 40 hours a week, that you can't afford them $33,600 a year. I mean, at this time, as inflation is so high.
Yeah.
I mean, and you
to add on to what you were saying, to Mayo, and is in a pandemic. Barely anybody's working now. They're allowing people.
And with that being said, though, I kind of feel the same way.
If you live in a Texas now, where the damn governor is acting stupid as fuck, opening everything, and don't no mask requirements or anything like that, unless you live in that type of area, you still got people that have limitations on their business, and I mean, they are still freaking struggling. So for any business owner, definitely a small business owner that's listening to this stupid talking point of if I do $15 an hour, it's going to hurt my business. You don't have no business, period, right now as we speak. You don't got no cash flow going in. Like for example, here, they literally begged. I won't say begged. I would take that. Let me walk that back. The commerce here and definitely here in Seattle talked with the governor Inslee about, hey, look, we learned from the first time with this COVID. This is something entirely new. We had to shut down. A lot of businesses struggled. So what can we do with this? This is like way before the second round of COVID hit. And it was like, look, what are the ways and policies and what are the strategies that we can do so we can so we can still open these businesses, but we do it in a safe manner and in a safe way so we can keep these businesses afloat. And so now you got different phases. And I don't know how they do it all in your states, but they do it in phases. So obviously phase 1, lockdown, phase 2, 10%, I think 25%, allowed to go in. Only takeout and all that stuff, and then you got phase 3, 75% capacity, and then phase 4 is everything's fully open. So if I'm a small business owner and when everything reopens, I'm pushing to be like, I'm gonna pay my employees $15 a month, because then if you still got them at like $7, because I know in Kentucky, I know the minimum wage is like around $7. You gotta think about the employees. You gotta think about the employees too. I'm sorry, my NCO leadership's coming in my mind. So if I got a soldier who obviously not getting paid as much as me, they're reckless with their money. Well, I won't say reckless. Let's say they don't manage their money well. I got to worry about how you going to get to work on time. Are you going to be in the right uniform? Are you going to be groomed? Are you going to take a shower, wash your ass? I mean, all these things as a leader, you have to put in your hand, just going to be like, hopefully my soldiers squared away. And that's my job to ensure that my soldier's in good standing, that he's going to be where he's supposed to be. He's going to look properly according to the regulations and to the standards and to my standards. And so for a business owner, with the COVID mess happening, and you hearing your employees saying, what you're giving me is not enough. You're lucky that I stay here. You lucky if I can have enough money saved up to take care of my own kids. 1, 2, my car can make it because I've been trying to send it to the freaking repair shop, but it's cost this X amount of dollars, and you're not paying me that much. So this should be an ultimatum to every owner, no matter it's in the fast food, no matter if it's in the gaming, whatever. This should be an ultimatum of giving your employees $15 a month. Now, with what happened with it not being a part of this bill, it was disheartening. Like me and Beast agree, we was gullible to a point that we thought it was going to be, it's going to pass with it. But then you got to realize when you got two dumbasses that's supposed to be playing on your on the same team as you, not part of the plan. I mean, we sitting there saying, audible, Farmer Ruski, we gonna throw it to number 84, and he's supposed to do a post route, a 9 route, and your ass sitting there running a freaking 3 route and just sitting there not blocking. You fucking everything up. We all supposed to be the same sheet of music. You supposed to do your part. I'm doing my part. When you're not doing your part, you're fucking everything up. What? And so I'm not gonna put this all on Biden because I think everybody.
Well, it's not just on him.
Yeah, because everybody was throwing it at him like, well, he didn't want to. I
mean, he's the leader, though. He's the leader of the party, though.
Right.
He's the leader of the party. So ain't no excuse.
But, right, and clearly he said that he wanted to increase the minimum wage. But people, once again, for people who are not educated on civics or politics, not understanding it's the party within. That's where all the laws are created. It's Congress and the Senate. And the reason why AOC and that progressive wing was like, we could fight this, but if we fight it, that's another month, another week, or months that people are not getting relief. And it was kind of like we gotta take the bullet in the full in this one. We gotta push it. But the great news is, ladies and gentlemen, the great news about all of this is that this can still be put on the floor. Mm-hmm. It can still be debated on. And I think this second time around, this is where the progressive wing and Bernie Sanders can really be like, look, reason why we didn't fight on this bill that much, because the American people need relief. Not only just the American people, but everything that's in that bill, which also, I like to say this real quick, and I'm going to shift gears a little bit, is that, do anybody know anything about the black farmers? Because I know Stevie Way was talking about it when he was on the show. They also had a bill. They had an amendment in there to support their farm efforts, to give them the funding to help them with their crops, and to help them out with their business. And I believe they got $500 billion. So for anybody who says that, oh, the government don't care about black folks, look that up. Just saying, I just want to put it out there to y'all. But I believe this second time around, if everything is done right, they're going to put $15 an hour on the table. And I believe, and you hear it from me, it's going to get pushed.
You think so?
I believe so. I believe so. Things like this don't last forever. Oh, well, Beast Jones, he had the hands on. I believe that things like this is not always going to be hanging on our heads. We just got to freaking, we basically, we have the right people that's up in there that need to do their jobs. Like I know my girl Cori Bush is going to do it. I know my girl AOC is going to do it. But Chuck Schumer, well, I won't say just Chuck Schumer. Bernie Sanders need to pull his compadre Chuck Schumer to the side and tell him, like, look, dude, you need to get Manchin and that girl Sinema, which they both got fucking backlashes. I'm so happy that they did. This is what happens when you have freaking conservatives as Democrats. No, you're just a Republican in disguise of a Democrat. So need to hold them accountable, get them in line. If the Republicans can get their people in line, even though there are times where they are correct about things, get them in line and all of them vote as a block. There's no different that Chuck Schumer can do with the freaking Democrats in the Senate. I'm also sick and tired, and I'm kind of going on a tirade right here. I'm also sick and tired. I'm also sick and tired of everybody sitting there saying, "Well, the Democrat Party did this, Democrat Party did that." Here's my thing. It takes two to tango. It takes two to freaking tango. It's also the Republican Party that's also a part of this. And they also got to understand the reason why the Democrat Party is always falling on the short end of the stick is because they're always trying to reach over to the aisle, trying to get the Republicans' help. What? And the time when they get Republicans' help, Republicans are the first one to put the boot in their asses and be like, oh, that was all you. That was all you. You put me up in this, but this is all you. That's what the Republicans been doing. None of these Democrats, I won't say none of them, but I would say majority of them don't have a spine. They don't have a backbone. They're all a bunch of bitches. I hope they watching this because I'm gonna let them know. Majority of y'all a bunch of I'm gonna say a female party. Majority of y'all a bunch of pussies. This is why y'all keep getting the scrutiny that y'all get. And it should be the Republicans we should be saying this to, which they are. Majority of them are. Well, all of them. I'm going to say all of them. All of them. And all of them don't have no
use the words I cannot use. But I the biggest thing for me is that, like, we just got to keep our elected officials accountable. I think on both sides. And I think that's what those other guys are trying to do. When they went into the Capitol, but they overshot the runway by doing all the violence they were doing and vandalism that they were doing. They overshot the runway by doing that. Number two, they got caught up in the media now turning them as the enemy of the state, and opposed to recognizing that they had a grievance that the employees. Sorry. Yeah, they have a grievance that the employees have not met and have not answered to yet. You know, these people are employees, and that's not how to show the grievance or not how to address the grievance you have. But they overshot the wrong way by doing it the wrong way. But their grievance is often the same thing that we have, but we find each other at different angles because they have the same employees are turning us against each other, and we continue to allow them to do it. So and that's the story of American struggle and American the cycle that we're in. Everybody we want to cling to our own parties. I'm Democrat, I'm Republican. No, at the end of the day, you need to ask yourself: are you for the establishment and the status quo, or you are not? And then that's my party. I'm an anti-establishment party. So if you're a Republican or Democrat or anti-establishment, I would agree with you more than I agree with the establishment of my party, in the sense of Democratic or Republican Party. And that's how the average one of us needs to start thinking. And the way we need to channel our grievance is to vote these people out. That's the way to do it. But they missed the point. So that's all I mean. But there's all thing about Biden and all that stuff. I mean, I like Biden. I met him before. I was a Biden person before I became an Obama person. And and I'm glad that Obama won then, but I really wanted Biden to win then initially before the primary got heated up, and now I jumped into Obama campaign when I saw what it could be for the future of this country, the history and all that stuff we can make. And but at the end of the day, it doesn't change when it comes to the story of DC. How the two-party system and the establishment plays the people. and we just pawns in the games, and this whole thing about oh, I'm a big somebody fan. No, I'm a fan of the people, man. I'm a fan of the people. I don't care how crazy they are. The folks who went there, I'm still a fan of the people. At the end of the day, it was supposed to be for the people, by the people, of the people. And it's now for the richest people, by the richest people, and for the richest people. And we have missed the mark. Some of us are just trying to become that part of that 1%. So because of that, we missed the mark, and we starting to push away our own neighbors, our own fellow 99%. We're pushing them away and stumping on them. It's like a rat race, But we've forgotten that the folks who were trying to chase and make sure we get our rights as our citizen rights. They up there somewhere. They're watching us chase each other, fighting each other. And they keep turning us against each other, and that's where the problem lies. So I mean, for me, I've always felt like this whole thing. We sit down and watch CNN, and then the other guys sit down there and watch Fox, and they turn us against each other all day. No, we need to hold the media accountable so they can give us the same news. Why can't they give us the same news? When you get a chance, or anybody else who's watching this today, look at Don Lemon. Look at any of this popular people that be on MSNBC or saying, look at their network. Look at how much they get. Joy Reid. Look at what their network is. They getting paid ball player money. You think they're paying them ball player money just to tell the news? No, they tell them so they can persuade you to keep fighting each other so you can miss the mark. Look at what they're getting paid. They're getting paid millions of dollars, $1 million, $2 million. That's ball player money. I mean, that's not the same amount your local TV anchor is being paid. That's not the same amount. I mean, we ain't getting cut. Nobody's cutting us those kind of checks. And these are people that I mean, I'm just saying. I mean, if you want to know, when I realized this, and thank God to Bernie Sanders' campaign in 2016 as a Revolution America, it was me and many of the white boys and girls, and maybe a few of the black people. Like they never thought they'd be at the DNC. Being able to represent my party as a delegate and watching the media in action, the media was in action. They were interviewing folks. They would tell you what they want you to say, because they want you. I mean, didn't you see this? Did you see that? I'm looking like, hold on, whoa. I mean, are you gonna ask me what I saw, or are you gonna tell me what I didn't see? Whatever. I mean, trying to they ask you a question. A lady told me, she followed me around my hotel room in Philadelphia. She followed me for 3 days. She wanted me to. I was a Bernie delegate and a surrogate, right? She wanted me to write something. She wanted to write something in of mine saying that I had flipped from Bernie to Hillary because I realized the lost cause, And so she be like, so are you saying that even after Bernie said you guys should flip that, that it's not time yet? I said, well, I'm going with the rest of my delegation. I came here with the Bernie delegates, and whatever they decide to do, I'm with them. I said I'm part of the people that's trying to give us so we can talk and can see how if it matters if we voted like let's say we were 60-40 in Ohio. So if we kept our 40% vote, it wasn't going to matter anyway. Hillary was going to win, but maybe we should just protest and keep our 40% vote. But they wanted to make a good story that all the Bernie folks thought right. They came, they had to come to Jesus moment. But she was. Maybe I didn't believe that she was a part of the media anymore. And I'm thinking, and I saw just so many things that my eyes would not believe it. And because I was so much of a big CNN, MSNBC watcher at that time, I saw so many things that I didn't. When I got back home to look at what aired, it was almost like night and day. Some things. There were fights that were going on in that arena. They never talked about the fight. People actually had to get pulled up of the section they're sitting in. And I never saw any of that because they wanted to put the illusion that it went well, nothing happened. But it was.
I remember the convention where half of it was saying, Bernie, and then the other half was saying Hillary and
but it wasn't just that.
I loved it.
I'm saying, but that was just the mild version of what happened. The time when we walked out and the DNC actually went to get people on the streets and give them passes to come take our seats. All that was not reported. I mean, we saw this thing happen, and there were people that were actually almost fist fighting. They had to call security to come get them out. Because I recorded when I left Columbus, right? I pushed record on my DVR to record because everybody hope that you're gonna see yourself. For the next 4 days, this is what everybody's showing on TV. So I push record to see my DVR myself. I got back home to look at all that DVR. Not one time did I see the things when Hillary was making a acceptance speech of the nomination that night. There was about three different tussles that went on in the arena, and not one time did the camera pan to any of those. And it was enough commotion that made people stop what they're doing. Now she's a experienced politician. She didn't stop a speech. I'm surprised how she didn't stop her speech because there were commotions going on in different parts of this, and that did not make the news. And I'm thinking to myself, why are they trying to do this? They totally left that out intentionally. That's when I knew how much control the media has and what they're trying to do. And that's when I knew I got to start thinking for myself outside what I hear from them. And it's just, I'm telling you, we got to stop letting the big money people push us, and that's what scares me about where we're going. I think that I'm with anybody who's anti-establishment, but we just gotta think that way.
Mayo, you are preaching to nothing but the choir. But speaking of the choir, it is time once again to take a little ride. We're not going downtown. We're going to the community where our boy Beast resides. Beast, what you got for us?
For today, community politics.
Oh boy. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's time to get that work. And let's head on down and take a little visit to Beast Community.
Since we're talking about politics amongst the Black community, we got to understand that we're not as blind to it as we may think we are, or as they may try to showcase us as. Because politics is just a general understanding of how to do things for the benefit of all parties included. And if possible, for us to do this with little to no violence or bloodshed, then hell yeah, let's do it. Think about it, in the community, there were certain rules and regulations that weren't real rules and regulations amongst the community, but you knew you did it to ensure, A, your mama didn't whoop your ass, you didn't get no type of ass whooping, or you didn't get in no type of trouble that would equate to an ass whooping or grounding. Or for the elders, get folk in your business, have the police come around knocking at your door. Those type of politics. They were never ingrained in any stone or written on any paper, but we all knew amongst each other that in order to cohabitate and continue to function amongst this community, it's certain things and certain ways that we must approach each other, in certain ways we must go about intermingling amongst each other. At the base core of it is just simple etiquette and decorum. That's all it really is. And now politics we see is just throwing money into the equation. So then it's the whole deal of supposed to be everybody that's supposed to get paid or is entitled to get paid, so don't nobody say shit about what's going on. But you got greedy folks. That's how you got murder, back trails, and all this other bullshit popping. That's always been the politics of it. That's the politics of the dope gang. Okay, how much dope you doing? Okay, how much dirt you doing? Okay, how many bodies you got? If everybody in your team and associated and actually know what the fuck it is that you're doing, eating right, and they living good, ain't nobody gonna say nothing. If they fuck up their own money, that's when the other bullshit comes into play. But all we really need to do, Black people, is just educate ourselves on the different levels and facets of politics, because it's something that we're already accustomed to. We're just not accustomed to this particular manner. Easier understanding is the game of spades. Everybody plays spades, but every community plays spades different. Certain rules apply. It's a general custom that when playing spades with random individuals, everybody, generally asks, how do you play? Because we know that the customs and rules and regulations are slightly different to completely different. So let's come to a cohesive agreement so we can all play civilly and enjoy it. That's the politics. It's right there in front of you. You just got to fix your eyes and shut your mouth first and foremost. That way your eyes can focus and your ears can finally tune in to hear and see what you need to see and hear to give you that insight and that information and the enlightenment on these unwritten rules of the game. That is politics. Because once you realize what they are, you can see how people use them and pervert them. But in turn, you know how to approach them to get your shit done and pervert their perversions. Or set yourself up with enough firewalls and defenses to not allow any perversions or corruptions to befall your particular set of politics and the politics of your community. So let's enlighten ourselves, people. Let's smarten up. Let's throw on the good glasses. Let's let you see real good. And actually look at what's going on. And like I said before, shut up. There's a lot of stuff we can whine about, we can complain about. But if we just shut the fuck up and actually look at what's going on and actually listen to what's being said and compare the two, the truth will reveal itself. And you can get in line with the betterment and the progression to fix this bullshit. Or you could just keep doing what the fuck you're doing. But you won't last in the community. And I hope you enjoyed your time and mine. Feel free to come back anytime. I prefer if you bring weed, but just come on back. Nonetheless, y'all have a good one.
Ladies and gentlemen, first of all, I'd like to thank my panel for coming on the show. Also thank our two sponsors, Sky Zone Society and Cheddar Boy Popcorn, for sponsoring the show. Thank you. And also for who's watching the show. Thank you very, very, very much. So I'm going to try to keep it short and sweet as much as I can for this final thought, because I got other engagements to do. Hey, Mayo, you're not the only one that got things to do after the show, okay? You're not the only one. I got things that I gotta do too. No, I'm actually gonna hang out with some coworkers and some friends and all that stuff. I have some Baileys for you though. My final thought is this. Once again, to all your Trump supporters, stop sending posts about praising President Biden. Me, who voted for Biden, put him in office to do a job. He's not God, or in the words of Mayo, when he mentioned in the show, he's not a Messiah. He's a man just like all of us, but the only difference is he has a position of power. And then also understand that he got constituents that he has to work with so those promises can be met. Basically saying, holding his party and the people that he put in position in his cabinet to task. So stop with the post of nobody had not posted any good things about Biden, because Biden is not fucking Trump, who always trying to look for people just to kiss his ass like he's done something. Because let's be for real. Like I said, I'm not a big Biden fan, but just like Mayo, I met Biden before. When he was Vice President Biden, I met him before. Great guy. But also at the end of the day, y'all have to understand that we put these guys, well, I'm going to use H word, we hire them to do a job. And to be clear and to be honest, he's cleaning up the mess that your president did for 4 years of fucking shit up, not knowing what he's doing. You're welcome. That don't need no posting, because I already told you that. And if you don't like to accept that, then that's on you. But stop with nobody haven't put anything praising Biden. Stop. Your dudes suck. When y'all told us to get over freaking Obama and Trump was the president, swallow those words. Trump's no longer the president. Biden is your president now. And with that, I yield the floor.
So my closing and final thoughts would be, for us, since we're talking about politics tonight, they're one of the things that I've always felt like has affected me in the way that I wish I could correct. If I could correct one thing in American lifestyle today, it would be that we should stop being fans and become better citizens. And it's just that simple. Stop being a fan to someone who you hired to work for you, because now there's so many of us that have hired that person, and because they're so popular, and if they're doing the job, the honorable in front of their names, which I used to work for the Black Caucus in my state, OLBC, Ohio Legislative Black Caucus, and it took me a while to realize why they had honorable in front of the elector's name, and I asked why they did, and it was explained to me because because they've been elected by their peers and their neighbors, they have so much honors. That's why they're honorable. There's the idea of them being honorable this, honorable that, So yes, these people are honorable. They deserve to be protected. They deserve to be respected. But outside those three things, they still are our employees. And I don't go into McDonald's most of the time and see the guy who owns the store telling his employees and becoming their fans and not being able to do his job as an owner or any other business. You don't see, most businesses, they run and thrive well with the owners kissing butts to the people who work for him or work for her. So that's where Americans, we need to get our strengths as citizens and need to become better citizens and stop being fans. A lot of us are acting strictly like fans and not like citizens, and we just need to get better. So again, my message tonight and my final thoughts of the night is to stop being fans and become better citizens. Good night, everyone.
As we move forward, Black people, we should keep our mind focused on the police brutality, because that is the issue that has been politically and legislatively attached to Black folk as a race. So let's make sure that they do what the fuck that they're supposed to do on that end. Afterwards, we should continue to press all the issues that we gripe about and feel as though need to be addressed. We should now continue to push them and move them forward. No slacking. We got their attention. And this is the moment where we see if the attention was actually worth something. If it's worth something, then we can take advantage of it. That's what the fuck we need to do. So let's not concern ourselves with safe aggression. Topics and conversation pieces that you can feel some kind of way about, but it's like a rocket chair. It's good for nothing. It's good for the moment, but it ain't gonna get you nowhere. You better off putting that energy somewhere else. And if all you want to do is sit your ass in a damn rocking chair, then I suggest you get you a big ass thing of yarn, learn how to crochet and knit, and shut the fuck up. Because people that get in rocking chairs, that's usually what to do. Either that or take a knife and whittle some shit. So if basically if you're not trying to be compared to a Southern geriatric, focus that energy on something more accomplishable, like ending this police brutality and getting some functional, credible, structured police reform, and then moving forth with all the other issues that plague the Black culture. With that, I yield the floor and hope everyone has enjoyed the show and has been enlightened, entertained, as well as educated. Good evening to you all.
Once again, I'd like to thank my panel. Hopefully, y'all have a great weekend. More great things are coming from hashtag Faith to Black, which we're going to keep to ourselves, and we will let y'all know on Monday. But I want to continue this conversation on the first 100 days of President Biden. I believe we did it, but not too much to the point where we gotten some explanations on the issues and the promises that he has kept or has not kept. So this is a continuation into Monday. But other than that, thank y'all for tuning in. Behalf of Beast Johnson, Mayo, and me, your humble guest, Dano Alamonte Morris. Thank y'all for tuning in to hashtag Fade to Black. We will see y'all Monday. And please enjoy yourselves this weekend. Once again, please wear a mask, social distancing, take care of yourselves. I beg of you. I'm also going to bring back. I'm also going to bring back every Friday. I'm gonna give my safety brief like we do in the military. I had the Alamonte show, but I'm gonna start bringing it on here on this show. So just to give y'all some tips on to be safe out there. But other than that, we gotta go, y'all. Y'all have a good
night
one.
from the D. I'm representing teachers on home city. Good night from the D.
What about you?
Y'all boys be safe out here.
You know it. Catch y'all later. Don't forget to follow our page. We outro. Bye-bye. If I can find the outro.